name's Stevie. This is VB Sundays. An intro video. Can you believe that? How's it going, everyone? My name's Steve. This is VB Sunday Live. Hopefully my microphone's not blasting your poor little ears off, because I can't hear a thing. But yeah, how's it going, everyone? It's Sunday morning. I hope you're doing well. Hey Stevie, we've got people in the chat already. This is great. So the sun is shining, and yeah, I'm showing off. So I've got a new intro video. What do you think about it? Is it a bit cheesy? Yeah, it is. It's a bit cheesy. I know. I'm going to work on this. I want to turn this from just your regular Common Garden stream into a streamlined show. Someone buy me a freaking thesaurus. Someone buy me a freaking thesaurus. I hope everyone's well today. I hope you all had fun. I was watching Mick's stream earlier. Thanks to Mick for pimping us out, telling people to come watch us. Of course, if you want more left-wing banter, coverage, entertainment, call it what you want. After this, Sinan, aka SK the Crusader, will be live on Twitch following us. I believe he's going to be playing Fall Guys. So, I mean, it's not a game I've ever played before. It looks cool. I'm all for games. Games are cool. Currently, the games I'm playing at the moment, I have got myself back into Star Wars Empires. Whoa, sorry. Yeah, actually, that's right enough. I've got back to Star Wars Empires at War. Downloaded it, downloaded the mods, and then forgot how to play the game. I have also been playing Galactic Battlegrounds, which is a life hoover. Like, if you want to find a computer game that is A, linked to the Star Wars universe and very good, and B, will suck your life up and turn you into a recluse, Galactic Battlegrounds is the game for you. It is brilliant. But this is not a gaming show. This is not me here to talk about gaming and the stuff like that. This is me here to rep Voice Britannia, and we're here to talk about politics and news. I mean, as you can see today, we're going to be starting off with the country's top hypocrite. And my God, like, the reaction that we have had to this story this morning is epic. I wouldn't say it's nuclear. You know what I mean? We've seen stories do a lot better. Like, but this is the best story we've run in a while. Why? Because people hate hypocrites. People hate hypocrites. People hate people that laugh at them. People hate having their intelligence mocked. And in this story today, our first story this morning, Matt Hancock knocks it out of the park, does everything. He actually has treated everyone with utter contempt. Sup SK, he is in the chat. Hello there. Hopefully we get some viewers on today whilst we're live and we can raid the other chats with them. If not, of course, this is on demand as well. This is made so you can watch it at any time. Any time at all. Anytime. Nice and easy. So, let's get, what stories are we going to look into today? I am sure I took notes, so let's check the old notepad, which, by the way, we started a new notepad this week. I don't know if I've said this before, but starting a new notepad is always good. So yeah, we're going to, that's the bit where I realise I can't read my own handwriting. Oh yeah, the Barrington Declaration. We're going to try and talk about that. I will hopefully remember that. I will circle that and we'll remember that. Actually, I'm just dicking about. I'm trying to fill time, and as we learned last week, filling time is not a good idea because I can talk, and if I fill time, then we're going to run out of time. So let's get to the first story. Shameless hypocrite Matt Hancock ignored his own 10 p.m. curfew to drink with Tory MPs, where they joked and laughed about the failures of Public Health England and the Test and Trace programme. Can you believe this? Disgusting. Now, I'm going to take this as fact because it was reported by not only us, but 3 mainstream newspapers and the people who are obviously more in the know than we are, have spoke to other Tories who were in the bar, who have admitted they were in the bar after 10 o'clock. People are willing to take the bullet to make Matt Hancock look bad. That's what that tells us. But we're going to have a look at this story, so let's have a look at it. Hypocrite. I had to use that word. Hypocrite. That's an editorial choice, that. Hypocrite, because what is he? He is a flipping hypocrite. So, let's get into this story. It's been read enough times, so I'm not really bothered if we lose any more traffic on it. So I'm just going to read it. Hypocrite and all-round cretin, Matt Hancock stands accused of ignoring his own 10 p.m. pub curfew to attend a Commons bar. Which, may I add, the Commons bars, it's quite threatening, the Commons bars all adhere to social club pricing policies. MPs get pissed for cheap. Subsidised by us, mugs. Yeah, no shit. This happens. And while Matt Hancock was in the bar, he made tasteless jokes. Well, we say jokes. I mean, he is a tasteless joke. But he made a tasteless joke about Test and Trace's failures. Ministers are now asking how serious the health minister is taking his job. So let's look more into this story. I think it was Thursday or Wednesday. I couldn't find the exact day. I'm going to check that up. People are being very cagey. Because obviously, the funny thing about this story is, because there's people that have said they are willing to go on record and say they witnessed it, they say what day they were there in, they are also admitting to breaking the law. So we're in a situation where we know what happened last week. We're not exactly sure what day it is, but don't worry. We will find out, because that's what we do. So Matt Hancock was spotted in one of the smoking rooms of one of the Commons' bars, because they've got quite a few of them. You may have seen Ross Thompson in there when he was an MP. You may have run the other way, but that's another story. So yeah, he was spotted in the Commons bar. Hancock was reported to have arrived at the bar around 9:40 p.m, 20 minutes before his own 10 p.m. curfew. And yeah, like I've said there, 20 minutes before, not just before the curfew, but before the pointless curfew. The curfew which has got no science underpinning it. A story of something we talked about earlier on in the week on Voice Britannia, in a story that referenced Robert Jenrick. If you want to read that, go to the site, search up Robert Jenrick, or look at our timeline on Twitter, because we posted it today. So, on arrival to the bar, Matt Hancock announced, "The drinks are on me. Public Health England is in charge of the payment methodology, so I will not be paying anything." What? Now, if that is the actual joke he said, if that was verbatim the joke that he told or attempted to tell, then what the flip? What the flip is going on? That's disgusting. That joke about the payment, Public Health England is in charge of the payment methodology. That means that he knows that, or he believes, Public Health England has been put in charge of something, but they're doing a terrible job, so it doesn't matter. There's so much to unpick from this joke. Public Health England is in charge. In charge of what? Why have they put Public Health England in charge? Why do they find that a joke? Why do they think it's a joke that Public Health England is in charge of anything? They're politicians. He's the person that tells Public Health England what to do. He's the health minister. Why would he find this funny? That is a bit worrying. And then he's talking about how they're in charge of the payment methodology. So they won't be paying anything. A direct reference to Matt Hancock's belief that Public Health England are useless. Basically, that's what he says there. He is indicating that he thinks Public Health England are inept, they're a joke, and that they can't get anything right. And that if he thinks that he says they're in control of the payment methodology, get me to that pen, that things are going to go tits up, because that's what he thinks of Public Health England. That's what he thinks are the body which is supposed to be trying to get on top of coronavirus. Is it any wonder that we're in the middle of a second wave? Is it any wonder that us, Voice Britannia, people like Byline, other newspapers, other media people, all have been shouting for weeks/months that the second wave was coming, that it's coming, blah, 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 and it didn't. And we got ignored. And it's here. Yet politicians are still ignoring what's going on, and they're still thinking it's some sort of big joke. Like, it's not a big joke. There's people at risk. This is not cool. So the health minister's quip, as I said here, it is a telling look into the levels of seriously that underpin. See, that word is supposed to be. That's supposed to be the word seriosity. Now, I'm going to let my spell check off for once, because seriosity is not the most well-used word. So I'm going to forgive the spell check for correcting a word that was right. But yeah, the health minister's quip is telling. I mean, how seriously does he take this? Clearly not very well. I mean, how serious is government and the entire Ministry of Health, everyone, how seriously are they taking this if they feel they can make jokes about it? I mean, we've got to remember, right? Now, not defending Hancock, but I'm just defending people in general, because this happens quite a lot these days. Comedy is a defense mechanism, right? Making jokes about stuff is a defense mechanism. I do that sort of stuff. It's just what happens. People have always made jokes about the macabre and the not so nice things about society and about the world around them, because, quite frankly, a lot of these things can be very, very grisly, very traumatic, and it is one of the few ways that the human psyche deals with things. It like makes a joke about them. So I mean, if it is really that bad and the ministers are really just screwed and not doing their job properly, and they know they can't do their job properly, it kind of stands to reason that they would make jokes about it, because it's a defense mechanism. So if we look at it in this sort of context, it's like, are we seeing Hancock lashing out? Does he know that he is useless? Does he know Public Health England is useless? Does he know that everything that's happening just now is pointless, and he's just trying to defend his own fragile psyche from it by just making a joke about it? Because if he makes a joke about it to other people, then his own brain doesn't take it so seriously and maybe dampens down the guilt that he's feeling, maybe dampens down the feeling that he should be doing more. So there is all this sort of element to the story that people in the press are never going to look at that way. We, admittedly, when we write the story, we're never going to look at it that way, because that's not what holding power to account does. If you're holding power to account, you don't hold their feet in the fire. I mean, we're not here to tickle them with feathers. We're here to highlight the bad things that they do and the bad things that they say. And regardless of whether it is a defense mechanism or not, it is a really bad thing to say. You shouldn't be saying that. You shouldn't be joking about things like this. Thinking, especially when you think you're doing it in the lads club, you know, because clearly Hancock thought he was in a place where he was safe. He was in the lads club. He was in the politics lads. He was with the blokes, the lads, you know. Hey lads, tell you, I've got a real dirty joke for you. Wait until you hear about test and trace. You know, we've been there. I'm not gonna say we've all been there, because we've not all been there. We're not all like that, but people have been there. We'll understand it. But let's go on, because obviously it was the Mail on Sunday who were the first to report this. We will be gladly to say who first reported this. And they talked about a senior Conservative MP who had told the Mail on Sunday. Now, this is the kicker. This is why we believe it's true, because they've got a senior MP. That makes it sound like I'm really questioning my own stuff, but I'm not. I actually believe the story, because we've heard it from more than one. We actually have sources as well, which we can speak to. We can chat. We can confirm stories and stuff like that. So, yeah. A senior Conservative MP told the Mail on Sunday Mr Hancock remained in the smoking bar until at least 10:25, despite Speaker Lindsay Hoyle insisting that Commons venues must abide by the same 10 p.m. drink up and leave curfew as all English pubs. A spokesperson even, for the Ministry of Health issued a statement to the Daily Mail admitting that the Health Minister was in the bar, but no rules were broken. So, what Matt Hancock's spokesperson is saying is that Matt Hancock came to the bar at around 9:40 p.m. and then he had to leave again at 9:42 to go and vote. So they are saying that he arrived at the bar at 9:40, ordered a wine, a Malbec, I believe. 2 minutes later, he had to go away and vote again. Now, what is interesting is the spokesperson does not deny or confirm or say anything else after the vote at 9:42. Did Hancock go back to the bar? Yes, he did. Witnesses seen him go back to the bar. Fellow senior Conservatives. So we've got to remember, if they're backbenchers, they're not very happy with government at the moment. They seen him. Hancock was spotted. Tory backbenchers. They've got it in for him. The Tories are normally united, but you know, there's a lot of weird infighting going on just now. But that's that story, really. So, I mean, as I said earlier, a group of Conservatives have admitted to being in the bar. They have admitted to being in the bar after the 10 p.m. curfew. And they know that they shouldn't be doing it. But they're politicians, and quite frankly, many politicians, especially the Conservative ones, believe they are above the law. They are above us. We are at the bottom. We're at the dregs. We are scratching the dirt for bits of food. They think that's what they think of us. They think they're up there, we're down there. They can break laws. We get fined for everything. That's just itchiness. That's just the unfairness of life that we get. What a time to get an itchy nose. And that was that. So that was that story. But yeah, this story has been going... Yeah, it went off. I mean, I expected this story to get some traction, you know. I expected people to look at it and say, man, that Matt Hancock, what a bastard. What a bastard. And maybe give it a share, a comment. Maybe say, what a bastard. But no. People are livid with this. Absolutely livid. So I would expect someone to raise this in the House of Commons tomorrow. As people that watch this, our Voice Britannia streams will know, every Monday we have been streaming Matt Hancock's health statements that he's been making. So these happen every Monday. Last Monday we thought it was going to start at 2:30. It didn't start till 4. So for those that were on the stream, I basically filled in for 2 hours waiting for Matt Hancock to speak, which was quite difficult, but I did it. We got there. It was good. Quality content. But yeah, I don't know what's happening there. My nose has just been absolutely... It's like there's something crawling about in my nostril. It's like, of course this happens when I'm live on air. What the hell? But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. So I'm not going to confirm to a time we're going to be on yet. I'm going to try and nail down the time. Some weeks it has been bang on 2:30 when Matt Hancock makes a statement at the House of Commons. It's a weekly COVID-19 update that he does. Other weeks, like last week, there were statements that got put before it, and it didn't happen until like 4:30 or 4 o'clock. So what to do is, if you follow us on Twitter, obviously at Voice Britannia, although I am on Twitter now as well, at Steve Smith VB, follow us on Twitter and you'll find out when we're going live. We post it all there, and what we might do to like keep the stream alive until something happens, we might just show some classic Prime Minister's questions on the feed, because we can do that. We're allowed to do that. So we can show some of that, and then when the statement comes, we'll pick up the mic. We'll go to me live in the front room based studio. And yeah, then we'll do it. We'll talk politics and we'll cover Matt Hancock's latest statement. But I really hope that someone holds his feet in the fire in the parliamentary way. I hope someone raises this as an urgent question, saying, all right, if you're going to do a curfew, can you try sticking to it? Now, what I could actually, thinking about this, like in a future sort of sense, what we could see happening is this could all be brought back up on Wednesday. Now, Robert Jenrick through the week stated that government might not let this vote happen because they think they might lose it. but there was going to be a vote on the 10 p.m. curfews happening because obviously many ministers think they're pointless. There's no scientific backing to the need for a 10 p.m. curfew. There's no science whatsoever. It's just an opinion by some Tories. So they were going to be wanting a vote for that. Now, through the week, we found that there was around, I think it was 48 was the number I read, Tory rebels, backbenchers that were willing to rebel against government, willing to vote government down. Now, the 48 number is important because that is how much the opposition side need from the Tory side to win a vote, to defeat government in a vote. So that was really cool. Everyone's like, yeah, cool, we might get some change here. It looks like we're going to, like, government's going to be held to account for something. Tories that are not totally like ruled by ideology and poor thinking are going to make the right choice. They're going to vote against the 10 p.m. curfew. In comes Keir the abstainer. What did Keir do? Keir, speaking to Sky News, said that he's going to tell the Labour Party not to vote on the issue. They're going to abstain. Again, he thinks that curfews are needed, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I couldn't believe it. So, it brings us back to this whole ironic situation about holding him to account, because the best time to hold Matt Hancock to account on breaching the 10 p.m. curfews would obviously be within a debate about the curfews. Maybe one where there's a vote on the curfews, the government's curfews that government ministers are not adhering to. But Keir's going to abstain. Now, if Keir Starmer just says he's going to abstain, and this doesn't change, and this need to abstain stays in place until Wednesday, then government are not going to, the government will let the vote happen because they know they're going to win. They're never going to stop a vote they're not going to win. It's pointless. If you can get a win, you take the win. If you think you're going to lose, you try not have the vote in the first place. So, I mean, if Keir Starmer abstains the vote, that means the Tories will vote that. And if that happens, Labour's not going to obviously chip into the debate because they're going to be abstaining. It's going to be pointless. That means that there's no one can raise this issue about Matt Hancock breaking curfew. Now, obviously, the best way for Labour or be it any opposition party to use what's happened with Hancock to score some political points, gain some political capital, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day, would be to interject in this debate, make the debate on 10 p.m. curfews happen, and interject with this. Make this part of most of the questions. It's like, what the hell? Why have we all got to face these curfews that have got no scientific basis, but MPs don't have to follow them? It's just not fair. I don't like it. I don't think it's very fair. I don't think it's very fair at all. So let's see who is next. What story is next? Drum roll, please. Yeah, that's the worst drum roll on the planet. Ha! Look who it is. Ginger Fox himself. He's actually the same colour as a fox. Now, I can say this because I'm Scottish, and as you can see, I have ginger genes within me. So, I can rip the piss out of that wee ginger nut as much as I shouldn't do that because it's not very fair. Although he's not very fair either. So, for people that follow us on Twitter, you probably know all about this story because we all reside inside the same social bubbles, inside the same social media bubbles, and see the same sort of news, same sort of drama, same sort of tiffs, same sort of stupidity. This one falls into the same sort of stupidity. So much to unpack in this story. So, everyone, let's get this tweet on the screen that started it. This one. So I think we've spoke about this already on the stream, but not on a Sunday show, so let's get it done. Last week, Sainsbury's did something. I'm sure they've... No, we did this first. We're going to come out and say, Voice Britannia did this first, and it led to us closing our Facebook page down because we couldn't be asked with the racist responses we got anymore, we directly told people on Facebook that followed our page, if you're racist, F off. Go away. We don't want you. We don't want your custom. We don't want your clicks. We don't want any part of you. You're idiots. You're racists. Just piss off. The backlash was amazing. Like, you would think that saying that, would the racists would kind of just skulk off and stop being racist and just stop interacting, and the non-racist people would be like, yeah, we've took a stand, good stuff. No. And now the same thing has happened to the Sainsbury's one. People openly complain and stand against the need to stand against racism. And Lawrence, the gender tosser fox, is totally in that area. Because this is the tweet, as you can see on screen, this is the tweet he posted. Now, Sainsbury's didn't, like, when we did it, Voice Britannia, well, I say Voice Britannia, it was me that did it. When I did it, I was not polite. I was rude, aggressive, annoying, condescending. I was everything you could possibly be to make the person reading, if they were racist, feel like a piece of crap. Because that's how we want racist people to feel. They should not feel that they have somehow got a position in this planet to feel good about what they think, because they don't. Their thoughts are archaic, they're silly, they're stupid. So, that said, Sainsbury's approached this topic in a much more polite and dignified way than I did. We are proud to celebrate Black History Month together with our black colleagues, customers and communities. We will not tolerate racism. We proudly represent and serve our diverse society, and anyone who does not want to shop with an inclusive retailer is welcome to shop elsewhere. Now, in comes Loza. Loza, come on Loza, what you got to say? Dear at Sainsbury's, I won't be shopping in your supermarket ever again whilst you promote racial segregation and discrimination. I sincerely hope others join me. RT. I mean, I don't know why he's shouting at RT News here, like, or, oh no, wait. That's that thing that people do when they're kids, when they put, like, message back in it. Message back. Desperate. TB. Desperate. Please RT. Please RT. Sorry. Now, comically, the only people that are stupid enough to RT his stuff are other racists. Not that we know that, of course, that Lawrence is racist, but he sure went out of his way to stick up for racially motivated discourse. So, we can't say he's racist. He's maybe just trolling. But one thing he surely did, and absolutely did, was defend the right of racist people to use racist discourse to talk against others. Not cool. Not cool. Not cool at all. So yeah, as the afternoon went on, as you would expect, Loza took a beating on Twitter. Took an absolute beating with people. Oh, Lawrence Fox, Bellend. An apt description. So yeah, as you would imagine, he was just being his usual unpleasant self to people on Twitter. Try to tell them to F off. Try to say you're a racist when clearly they're not. Like for instance, how the hell, how stupid is he? Like, how, what part of that two-paragraph statement is there anything about promoting racial segregation? Like, I mean, at least when Trump projects, he says something that's kind of got a grain of credence, but that's just ridiculous. That's just stupid. Like, that reads like someone has read the book on how to project and how to distract and how to use media to be dishonest, and then totally not understood it. Because you need to have something there. You need to have something. Like, you could say you were forcing racial non-segregation. You're forcing us to be near people we may not like. But even then, it's like, what does that say? You're getting forced to be, you may not like racist? Like, there's so much there. And what he says there is just silly. Like, whilst you promote racial segregation and, like, where? We're going to be starting a letters page soon, by the way. If anyone can tell me where in this paragraph there is any indication or connotation to racial segregation or discrimination, send me a letter to letters@Voice Britannia. First person that can actually do that and make me say, well, you know what, rhetorically, you actually have a point here, will win a mug, because I'm confident that he can't do it. It can't be done. It's a stupid tweet. Like, he is such an idiot. But I digress, because this is not the Laurence Fox is an idiot half hour. We were telling the story of what he did last week. So, as trolls do, they just act in a toxic and just all-round nasty way to people they come across on social media, especially people who tell them you're wrong or you're racist, which is exactly what happened. So, as you can see in here, we'll get that straight up in here so you can see what's coming. A little bit of warning for you. The first person to be attacked really badly by Laurence Fox's trolling and just toxic attitude was Simon Blake. Now, many people don't know who Simon Blake is. I know who Simon Blake is through previous work within the LGBT communities. Simon is the CEO of Stonewall. Now, again, there's a lot of people that don't know, like, thankfully, in the last few years, Stonewall have done some really, really, really big marketing campaigns. So a lot of people do know who Stonewall is, at least. For those that don't, they're probably the UK's biggest LGBT supporting charity. I mean, like, mainstream charity, works with governments and stuff like that. Real high-level advocacy. Simon Blake's the CEO of that, so he's not like just some guy off the radio. He's not just some guy who writes for a newspaper. He's not just a good businessman. No, he's like at the top of the LGBT advocacy world. And in response to Simon pointing out that it's quite a racist text, it seems quite racist, and he does seem like a bit of a twat, Laurence Fox said, "That's pretty rich, coming from a paedophile." I mean, what the fuck? That's my one F-bomb. One F-bomb a show. That stunned people. Now, that was not the only time he did it last week. Later on in the day, as you can see here, Crystal commented. Now, many people, much like Simon Blake, unless you've watched RuPaul's Drag Race or you're from within the LGBT community, you might not know who Crystal was. Crystal is one of the superstar drag queens from Drag Race UK, RuPaul's Drag Race. A monumentally big show. Like, insanely big. Superstar. And Crystal said, as you can see on the screen, imagine being proud of being a racist. So cringe. Total snowflake behaviour. And she's right. Because it is total I don't think you can get any more snowflake than raging on Twitter about being told not to be racist. What the hell? And in response, of course, Loza responded, says the paedophile. Now, calling someone a paedophile when they're not a paedophile is really bad. That's like disgusting. It's like bottom of the bottom, bottom of the barrel, dirt worst, drizzling shits of discourse. You're not going to get a worse thing to say someone, to call someone. Now, in the context of Simon and Crystal, it is a million times worse, because for as long as people with conservative views have had issue with the LGBT community and gay people, they have smeared gay men as paedophiles. This has happened as long as ever. Like, forever. Like, as long as conservatives have had a problem with homosexuality, anything like that, the term paedophile has been used. It is a trope. You know, like, the word trope gets used a lot. Calling gay men paedophiles is a homophobic trope. A very nasty homophobic trope. It's like, and as I said, it's like, it's bad enough at the best of times, but then when you're using it in this context, it's just horrible. And I mean, let's look at why he's doing that. Why does Lawrence Fox feel he can do this? Well, he has a huge following. He has a huge following of people who will validate his disgusting behaviour. He's got people that validate this shit. I mean, look at that. Now, these screenshots were taken quite soon, like what, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. So, I mean, 5:30 p.m, that was only a couple of hours after it happened. And as you can see, by that point, 533 likes on that. His followers loved that. Now, what does that say about his followers? Homophobic racists. Great. Thankfully, I'm not a follower, and I hope you're not too. Anyone that follows this twat, man, like, what the hell? Give yourself a shake. So, but it didn't end, of course, with Loza calling them paedophiles. Because thankfully, we don't live in Loza's world. We live in a legal, a lawful world. A world which has laws. Some of them good, some of them bad. But in this case, the laws which are good are coming to the rescue. And comically, and this is Crystal, by the way, and there's Simon. But yeah, the law has got involved. And what has happened is that Simon Blake and Crystal have seeked out the legal help of a man named Mark Lewis. So, for people that have read our site before, you might remember this story where Rachel Riley and Tracy Ann Oberman, they were suing Jane Holbrook for libel. Now, they were unsuccessful because she didn't do anything. But in that situation, the lawyer was Mark Lewis. Now, Mark Lewis has developed quite a name for himself for being a libel lawyer. That's what he does. He does libel cases. Now, what people learned during the Rachel Riley case was that not only does Mark Lewis do libel cases, but he does them on a no-win, no-fee basis. So, comically, as soon as people saw Simon Blake and Crystal getting all this sort of, like, being called a paedophile on social media in public to millions of people, people were just like, phone Mark Lewis. If there's one guy that's going to help you, it's going to be him. And by Jove, Mark Lewis has came to the rescue. So I think it was within, maybe 2 days, so by Tuesday last week, 2 lawsuits had been announced. One by Simon Blake, one by Crystal. They're both suing Loza for calling them paedophiles. And I hope that they squeeze every bit of cash out of his pocket, because he deserves it. He deserves to learn a lesson. He deserves to be financially ruined in the short term, not in the long term. Everyone deserves a future, but no, in the short term, financially ruin him. I hope the two of them destroy him, and I hope he's got to just work coffee adverts. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but he thinks he's an esteemed actor. Let's see him at the bottom of the... I want to see him in EastEnders, Coronation Street, one of those silent bar drinker act, non-speaking role characters. Him, knock him down to the bottom of the barrel. And of course, there's other news with Lawrence Fox today, which was even funnier, which was he recently received £5 million in donations, who knows who from, to start a political party. In the name he's wanting to use, it turns out there's another group using it, and they're now campaigning to take the name from him. In short, the guy's an idiot. The guy's an idiot. If you're going to... What I would say is, for people that want to react to him online, don't react to him. And this goes to anyone, like people like him, and like Hartley Brewer and Toby Young, don't react to them directly. They know what they're doing. They know they are triggering you. They are making you react. Stop it. Stop reacting to them. If you must react, take a screenshot of the tweet and tweet it out. Don't use their name. Don't use their hashtags. Don't tag them in it. Just screen it. Say what you think about them. Move on with your life. Let people like us do the raging about it. We'll do the back work. We'll talk about it, because if we talk about things, it doesn't go viral from me talking. We can talk about him for days and it's not going to affect his traffic in one iota. And if we do this, then we can slowly erode the power that people like him, the people like Hartley Brewer, the people like Toby Young all have. And we can take back control of the UK's sanity. Is that too much to ask? Really? Is it too much to ask? So yeah, we've only got time for one more story, so that's quite cool. I will take this opportunity to remind people that we do everything for free. We don't charge a penny. We're not wanting to charge a penny. But obviously we do need an income. Every so often a story will do good, which is great. It puts a little bit more into the Voice Britannia coffers, but we need more help to get us to the next stage. If you have a spare quid, 2 quid, 10 quid, 20 quid, hey. If you're a millionaire and you want to help a business get off the ground, head over to our GoFundMe, donate. You would not believe how much this helps. We've had people that have donated in the past, such awesome, awesome people that have donated already. You could be one of the next donators. If you want to help us get off the ground, feel free to. We will never forget it if you do. If you want information, I think the GoFundMe link is down below. If not, I have completely shit the bed and promoted something without even having a link to it. You can always head over to our Twitter account. We post everything there. And that would be cool. I mean, one thing we've been thinking about lately is a Patreon. Now, people might not understand the ethos with this, but we never, ever, ever want to be a subscription service. Every article, every news story we post is going to be for free. Always. We're never going to charge. But we're looking to find ways to generate income because we're a business and stuff like that. So we've been thinking about Patreon. Now, the reason we didn't want to go to Patreon is because Patreon is essentially, it creates a form of subscription. You've got to pay people every month, and then you've got to have, those people have got to have some sort of unique content served to them, or else what's the freaking point of being on a Patreon? That's why the way we see it, the way I see it anyway. Then I had a brainwave, and I'd like to know what people think about this. Like, would you pay a small amount every month to read Voice Britannia with no adverts? Now, we say this because ad revenue is our source of revenue. We want Voice Britannia to be paid for by the ads that you see. We don't want to ask people for money. If we can show you a picture of some toothpaste or something stupid and earn money from that, we would much rather do that because we want to keep news free for everyone. But then we thought, it's like, people might pay to get rid of the adverts. So then it got me thinking, it's like, would people pay a few quid a month to get the adverts removed from the page and to get our opinion articles before everyone else, and maybe get like an extra video bit of content before everyone else as well? That way, we can still keep everything 100% free. We can then have a way to give Patreon supporters something else. Then it keeps everyone happy, and then we can get a bit of funding as well. So that was just an idea. I would love to hear what people have to think on this idea. Let us know at Voice Britannia on Twitter. We're there all the time. That would be spectacular. Because we need help. We all need help. And I mean, look at the situation we're in now, right? I mean, my personal situation is I was in university, a full-time student until August. So I had to, I was finishing my degree, doing my honours year. So I couldn't work then. I had to do everything. Halfway through that, the pandemic hit. So instantly no jobs to even get. There's no jobs to apply for. if I could, and there's no way because I'm still technically a student, can't get any help. So I'm here doing this. I've got to run. We've got to do this. This is it. And we get no government support on top of it. So if you can help, that would be awesome. Got on a bit of a tangent there. So what will we do last? Let's have a quick talk about this one. This is a story, as you can see, from the 16th of September, but we're going to be revisiting this in the next few days. In short, I'll read this here. Update, 10th of October, yesterday. Since we originally published this article, we spoke to the government's Office for Science who managed this data. Voice Britannia was told this problem was identified and would be fixed. Almost a month later, the issues have remained and the data on hospital admissions is not being updated correctly. Everything in the article remains relevant. So if you want that, read that. Basically, Public Health England / Department of Health do not and are not reporting correctly the amount of people that are in hospital with COVID-19. This has been going on for over a month now, and it is quite disgusting. If we go here, let's just hope that nothing embarrassing came up there. COVID, sorry, ignore my bad spelling. You don't need to be able to spell nowadays, just get it kind of right. Now, if we look down here, I'll show you exactly what we mean. There we go. So, patients admitted daily, 684 is the number, but if we look at the date there, Tuesday the 6th of October. There we go. Patients in ventilator beds, last reported the 9th. That one's the 8th. Now, these are changing, like you're lucky if they change once a week at the moment. That is just freaking disgusting. And as you can see here, hospitals are beginning to get in a really, really, really bad place. Let's have a quick look here. Patients admitted. So, I didn't see it's... The data on hospital admissions is really, really not that good. Patients in hospital just now, so... We're sitting at around that much. It's not good. It's not good at all. So lastly today, where's the story we're going to do? Oh yeah, let's look at the tier system, because this is going to be announced tomorrow. For people in England, this will be life from tomorrow. So prepare yourself. If you're in the north of England, it means that you're probably going to be faced with some form of lockdown or another. So what's happening? The rule of three. So I'm fairly sure this rule of three name came from Harry Cole himself, which is fast becoming the government's main source of news. But that's a story for another rant that I want to take later on, because he should not be the government's main source of media and stories, but he seems to be the person where all our sources are getting everything from. I can't explain it. I'm a Snaberdeen. If I was down in London, I'd be explaining it. I'd be knocking on doors, rattling cages, making things happen. But yeah, the rule of three. So what's going to happen with this? From tomorrow, Boris Johnson is going to announce his new traffic light-y sort of system. As you know, we've had the Nando's scale, or whatever the hell they called it. We had the first one with the 5 colours. It was basically like a Nando's menu. We've had traffic lights. And now we've got a new tier system. So, how does it work? Let's have a look at the tier system. The government / Matt Hancock, the guy that laughs at everyone and laughs at the trouble we're all in, well, they're going to decide what tier your area should be in. Now, this will be dictated on depending on how serious COVID-19 is in the area you live. So if you're in a hotspot, tier 3. If you're in an area with a few outbreaks, but it's not really a hotspot, tier 2. Normal life, tier 1. And that's basically how it is. So let's have a look at the tiers. If you are in it's not you, it's if your area is in tier 1, you will be expected to adhere to the rule of 6. So, if you fall into tier 1 in this set of rules, you have to follow the rule of 6 in the other set of rules. That's not confusing in any way. Tier 2. If you're in a tier 2 area, households will be banned from mixing. There will be stricter social distancing rules and who knows what else, because quite frankly, they're making this shit up as they go along. And finally, the most serious of the tiers, tier 3. If you are in a tier 3 area, guess what? You're in deep doo-doo. That is the areas that are in most serious risk of bad things happening. Bars, pubs, cafes, and all hospitality venues will be closed. How long for? We don't know. Will they be closed temporarily? We don't know. Will curfews even be in place by then? Who knows? The truth of this plan here is that it is just another slice of reactionary pish. Like, why do we need? They don't need this. They don't need this. And there's been a pattern with the UK government since, maybe April, right? Whenever they feel like they have been losing control of the situation, instead of just clamp down, take a step back, look at the problems that they are facing and just solve the problems, they just stand back and they're like, right, we need a new plan. And instead of like taking the plan they've got and like, okay, so we can reuse that, let's put this plan up here. No, they're like, see that? Like, let's start it again. And they just tear everything they've done for the last month and a half, tear it up, and then do it again. Because that's apparently good. It blows my mind. It's like, no, if a plan doesn't, like, for instance, the local lockdown plan, terrible. It doesn't work. We know it doesn't work. Robert Jenrick has now admitted it doesn't work. The stats clearly show they don't work. So what did the government do here? Did they look at the local lockdown plan as it is and think, right, let's maybe change that a bit, make that a bit more stronger? It's like, that bit, it's like, well, maybe we should stop people mixing there. Let's get the rules back in shops. No, they've looked at that and they're like, all right, local lockdowns are cool, but let's just create a new set of rules that just goes on top of the local lockdown. So we can have more of a local lockdown if you're in one situation and less of a lockdown in another situation, targeted. And it's fallen apart. They're treating their COVID-19 response like a Google advertising campaign. They need to realise that this virus is not a potential customer, because that's what targeting, like, we live in an age where things are targeted. Advertising's targeted, help's targeted, housing's targeted. Everything is targeted to an area or a cause or a need. They need to stop targeting in this situation. There's like, this whole targeting way acts as if one part of the country is better and the other country is worse, and that they can somehow play these off. It's like, no, everything's bad. COVID-19 is bad across the whole country. The whole of the UK is eating shit in terms of the pandemic at the moment. Even Van Tam is saying the same stuff that we've been saying now. This morning, Van Tam, I say Van Dam because you know who I mean, Van Tam, Chief Med. I've said it too much, I'm saying it wrong now. One of the chief medical officers, he's now saying exactly the same thing we've been saying for weeks. We are on the edge. And what happens? Instead of improving the rules that are in place, they just try and confuse people. So, it is expected that this new rule of 3/tier system will be unveiled tomorrow. But will it? Will it? Because the amount of, for some reason, government released this information on Wednesday night. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. All I know is that I got an email telling me about this. So I was like, okay, cool. Wrote it up. Put the news out. Then an hour later, I see people like Andy Burnham raging that they're finding this out through news sites, through newspapers and news sites. Now, obviously, I would love it if they read it from our site. but we knew it. We released that. We had it out at the same time as them, and it just left me stunned. I could not believe. I was like, what the hell's going on? Why have we got this before the people in the areas that, like Andy Burnham, the Liverpool mayor, Keir Starmer, leader of the opposition, were all complaining that they hadn't seen this, that people like us had seen it before them. And you know what? I'm angry with Keir too, because there's no rational environment where we should be getting news on what's happening in the country's politics before the leader of the country's opposition. That's bananas. And I'm going to leave it there for today, because if I keep going and keep going and keep going, I will go way over time, and that will not be cool to SK, because he is away to go live. So hopefully you've enjoyed the show today. I really hope you do. Oh, wait a minute. We've got some... See, I missed the chat. I missed the chat here. Yeah, as SK has said in the chat, check out our Patreon. Oh, we can make this Discord a Patreon reward, man. I have got reading to do. Lots of reading to do. But what you need to do is now you all need to go to SK's channel and watch whatever he's doing, because that would be really cool. If you come back to us, we'll be live tomorrow. As I said, check out our Twitter. It'll be live around 2:30, I believe. But things could change, and it could happen at some other time. So follow us on Twitter. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week. Remember, and check out voicebritannia.co.uk for loads and loads and loads more news. We will quickly go back to my intro video while I work out how to raid SK's channel. And we'll catch you all later.